What's going on? What's going on? Boy, I love these interviews. I love this show. I'm Eugene Napoleon, of course, is Relatively Sports with you know who, moi, Eugene Napoleon. So today's guest, let me get into it real quick because I'm super excited. This talented young man I've known for quite some time. He's actually is a native of New Jersey, Elizabeth, New Jersey to be exact. And he donned the gold and blue. And we have something in common. And I'm not going to share that just yet until we actually bring him in. And that's going to be the first topic that I speak on, because what we have in common has never been done in West Virginia's history. So I'm going to leave you with that for now. But I'm going to tell you who he is. He is none other than Thomas Orr, number 24, a DB that played at WVU some years ago. And then when I bring him in, we're going to chop it up about a few things, but more importantly, about what we have in common, which I think you Mountaineer fans would love to know. We're bringing him in now. My man, T. Orr, Thomas Orr. T. Orr.
How's it going, Eugene?
Man, I'm blessed, brother. How are you?
I can't complain, man. Life is good.
Listen, let me say this. First off, before I even get started, thank you for coming on my show, brother. I'm humbled.
No problem. Appreciate it. Thank you for asking.
Oh, definitely. So I told the great fans, I said, listen, the first question I'm going to ask to you is, you and I have something in common that I don't think a lot of people realize. And I know it's never happened in the history of West Virginia again since my years there and your years there. And that is, obviously, I played on the 88 undefeated team and you played on the 93 undefeated team.
Yes, sir.
See, so fans, I told you that's going to be my first question. All right. Let me ask you a question, my good brother. What was that like playing on that team and the whole process of from game one all the way through to where you guys were undefeated? What was that like?
Honestly, it was different because we installed a whole new defense. We got some new coaches in, everything like that. So some new life. And we really started running some bump and run, more man to man, a little bear defense and everything. So it really just changed our expectations because the spring, you just kind of felt like we could be pretty good,
Right.
And once we started going through the test of some serious hard games and pulling those victories out years before, we just missed them. We just lost 4-7-1, 4-7, 6-5, just missing a few games, but everything was put together in 1993 and we went undefeated.
Now, let me tell you something. First off, I also told the fans, I'm a fan of yours for many reasons, but one of the biggest reasons, we happen to share the same home state, my good brother.
Yes, sir. Jersey boys.
Jersey boys, and your career in high school was legendary. As for people that don't know, Elizabeth is no joke. And the schedule that you guys played and the things that you've done, what was the process, the recruiting process for you, and what made West Virginia your home?
Honestly, even though I'm from Elizabeth, I'm a country boy at heart. Going to South Carolina, visit my grandparents every summer, just hanging out down there, eating good, growing 2-3 inches every year. It just, it was just different from me. I'm from, the brick city, Pioneer Homes Projects in Elizabeth, New Jersey. And I wanted a way out, and school and sports was my way out. So I took it seriously. I did not take it lightly. And the competition from just being children was tough. I mean, just to be able to get picked and selected in the game was something you can talk about all week the next week. And then once you started, people started seeing that you were pretty good. Now we're looking forward to PAL, Pop Warner, 7th and 8th grade football, freshman football. Now, by the time we got to freshman football and we're undefeated as freshmen, we just felt like, we really had some teams. We had some of the toughest guys in the city playing for Elizabeth. So
Absolutely.
you can channel, which our coach was able to channel some of that energy onto the football field. We were just unstoppable. I mean, literally my senior year, I ain't played past halftime maybe 2-3 times. Honestly, like it was crazy. It was a beautiful thing.
Oh, no doubt. Well, first off, the legendary Coach Moore.
Yes.
Man, listen. Coach Moore was something else, and I remember he hit the similarities between him and my legendary coach Frank Gargiulo at St. Joseph's at the time, bar none. were teachers of the game, but more importantly, you understood how not only to play the game, but how to be a student of the game because you couldn't play. It's almost like going to St. Peter's Prep back then and
Yeah.
playing for Coach Hansen. There was no misunderstanding of you had the football IQ had to be there or you wasn't touching the field.
Not at all.
So
Not
I
at all.
had such a great deal of respect for that because it made you the player that you were, the student athlete that you were. It made me the same. But the thing, T.R., man, dude, through the years, when I watch what athletes do when they graduate college, whether it's pro ball or whatever the case may be, and they shift in their life, I want to talk to you about that because you and your beautiful wife have a company that's doing very, very well. And I want you to tell the fans about that. And what helped you to make that shift after playing pro ball in the CFL? What helped you to make that shift into wanting to own your own business and then going and actually doing it?
In all honesty, that's all my beautiful wife, man. I had no wants to start a business or to be in business. As a provider, I need to know my check was coming every 2 weeks. I need to make sure bills is paid, house is paid for, etc. But my wife has always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, always. Once she had the kids and everything like that, even then she was selling shoes out of our garage. She then opened up a florist in Burlington, New Jersey. She then went to work for Verizon for about 12 years. And then she came to me about 2017, was like, I think I want to retire from Verizon and start a credit repair business. I was like, whatever, the one thing I would never want to do is for us to get old in age. And my wife was like, what if, what if we would have, so I try to support her in any idea that she has. It doesn't make a difference to me because I don't want her to say, what if? I wish I could have, I wish I should have. We all have enough of that in our life, but that was not going to be a part of our marriage. And it isn't. So we started a credit repair company. The credit repair company then evolved into her being in real estate, me getting into mortgages. And we also have some other businesses that we're just not, we're just behind the scenes. Everybody doesn't need to know everything you do, but they say you should always have 7 streams of income, and we're there.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. The advice that you would give, again, student athletes, even once you graduate college, because that's you and I talked behind the scenes a few years ago. You even helped my son, with his credit, and thank you for that. I want people to understand that it's not just about being a football player, a basketball player, an athlete, whatever the case may be. The business sense to go out and do the things that you want to do is so important.
Yeah.
And you are a prime example of that. What advice would you give players that just think it's about playing a particular sport?
Man, I appreciate that because sports are not, you're not going to be Tom Brady more than likely and play 23 years in the NFL. We would love that. That financial security, you know what I mean, the popularity, et cetera. But there comes a time where you need to find out what other changes and what effect are you going to make in someone else's life. And to me, that was a career change and a mind shift for me. I really wanted to have, and teach financial literacy. Not saying that, we're ridiculously rich and everything like that, but we're comfortable. I'm just trying to fill in the gaps that were not there for me, for my parents, things that no one ever talked about. I mean, I really wish I knew more about credit coming out of college. I wish during college when they was giving us free Snickers bar, you fill out this credit form, and I'm just, giving my real information just for a candy bar because we were broke. You were hungry. And if a Snickers bar is going to get me to lunchtime at the stadium when we had dinner, I was good. Here's my information. Not realizing I got all these things in my credit report, when I finally took a look at it at 23, 24, when I went to go buy a vehicle. And I didn't even know what a good credit score was.
Wow.
I'm in the 700s and had no idea. So, I got messed over on my car that I was buying because you feel like an adult, you want to go do it yourself. I just wasn't ready, So from that point on, we just made it our mission. If someone's there to listen, we're gonna be here to talk.
Wow. See, the one thing about my show, and I wanted people to understand, it's a little bit different. Yeah, we're going to talk some football and all that good stuff, but I want it to be impactful and I want it to be informative. That's why I couldn't wait to bring you on, because there's so many other nuggets that I know that would-be student athletes, their parents, whatever the case may be, can get from this, that hopefully they will learn something. That's important. And you're 100% right. Going to college and not understanding how important what good credit is, good credit, bad credit, how do you sustain to get good credit, working towards it?
Yep.
No, nobody was talking about that.
No.
So the fact that you're in this business now, it's a beautiful thing. How many athletes come to you after the fact to say, yo, hey, T.O.R., man, I need some help? Do you have people coming to you and actually asking? Because sometimes people don't want to ask.
What's funny is we're pretty active on social media and pushing some of the business that we do, but it's when it comes to credit repair, people are ashamed a little bit. They don't want everyone to know the hell. So it's behind the scenes. You get a DM message like, hey bro, what's up, teammate? You know what I mean? What's up, frat? What's up this? What's up that? Can you help me out with this, that, and the other? And as I tell people, sometimes it's not like you need credit repair, you just need some credit knowledge. Let me show you and tell you what you need to do. That's free. Knowledge is power. I give out the knowledge freely. It is when there's something that's more involved that we can get involved in that, charges come into me. But when we just talking about knowledge and just like we always talk about knowledge of self, it's knowledge of credit, how to build credit. What do you need? What things affect your credit? What do you need to do? Why is my credit score not moving anywhere? Why did my credit score keep dropping? Why did it drop when I paid my car off? You know what I mean? Why I can't get a mortgage? Why am I in so many different questions and things? And literally, I just sit there and give them the real simple answers. And that's what they want. Don't send everybody around the mulberry bush. They want a simple, clean answer. And that's what we do. Most of my conversations, 4 or 5 minutes. What I mean? We talk credit 3 minutes, the rest we just, laughing and joking and jiving, because it doesn't take that long for me to give you what you need, or not, or throw it on the email to you like, hey, this is what you need to do, this, that, and the other. This is what's going to give you some jumps. After you do this, you need to play, you need to make this play right here, boom, 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 and then go from there. And if you need something, call me back in 2 months and I'll tell you what's next. Literally, it's just the knowledge that we just don't know. And that's something that we just don't talk about in our communities enough. And we're just really trying to be more impactful and make a change in that. So we've been talking to schools, we've been talking to churches, fraternity meetings, just wherever, we've been out there, and sometime in some, some festivals this summer and everything, hey, somebody come over to our table. We're here to give free information. I'm wondering why my score isn't moving. Okay, when last time you use it? What are you doing this and when are you doing that? Do you know utilization is 30% of your credit score? And keeping everything down as low as possible, but you still need to use your credit to grow your credit, and it kind of just morphed, like I said, into real estate and the mortgages for us.
Do me a favor, before we jump into football real quick, tell the viewers the name of your company and how they can reach you and your wife.
Sure. So our credit repair company is Ascension Credit. My wife is a realtor for Keller Williams. And like I said, I'm a mortgage, I'm a loan officer, but I work with a few different companies. But the easiest way, honestly, to get in touch with me is simple. I'm not hiding behind a number. You can call me, you can email me at 609-813-1123. For emails, you can call me you can email me at thomas.orr, SORR, at @sionlinden.com. And that'll get you through to me for any type of mortgage questions or anything like that.
You are my man. Now, you already know we got to jump into a little bit of West Virginia football.
Of course.
Okay. I've been sick the last 2 weeks about what's happening with these scores. And yeah. I know you and we're cut from the same cloth. It's hard to fathom that we're 0-2 in this early part of the season. I picked us, to believe it or not, in a prediction to be 10-2. And my wife said 8-4, 9-3.
Right.
So sitting at 0-2 right now, obviously nobody in this house is happy.
Yeah.
So what's going on? What do you see?
Honestly, what's funny is because we were supposed to meet a few weeks ago, but I went on vacation. So I'm on vacation and I'm watching a Pitt game and I'm yelling, I'm throwing stuff and everything. And, there was actually some West Virginia fans there, with me. So we just know that, listen, I've been a part of that. We've all been part of that tough season, that tough loss. You know what I mean? And everybody's ready to get on the team and get on the coach and everything like that. But we got to stay true. You know what I mean? That West Virginia flag flies. And when we say cue country roads, we mean cue it. Win, lose, draw. It really doesn't make a difference to me. I'm not going to change my colors.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna have my pity fit for about 5 minutes after the game, and then it's like, all right, what can happen to, you know what I mean? What happened? Where do we break down at? You know what I mean? These young guys, you know, whether it was the rain last weekend, you know, confidence, small mistakes, you know. But what's different now is I didn't have to deal with social media. You know what I mean? I literally, and I almost was going to say his name, but I really just had to deal with the newspaper. And if I had a bad game, you know, I had a bad game, and they were on me. Now these young men have to deal with social media and the pressures of social media, and everyone having just uh, able to contact you in either way they want, good or bad. So, you know what I mean? For them to feel that they don't have support, you know what I mean? These young men are not sometimes mature enough and ready to have to deal with that fight for the next week. You know, so now they're going into deep depressions. You know what I mean? They're doubting themselves. They're transferring all over the place. As soon as you say something negative, they're ready to leave and go to a different school because all their life they've been, you know what I mean, touted as this big guy. And as soon as someone says something negative or give them some criticism, they're ready to run. I've been there. You know,
Right.
I've been there. And my father was like, yeah, you can run to your room. That's about it. And we're going to deal with this. And
Right.
next week, you know, I mean, you're going to learn a lesson from it. Turn your dang head when the ball is in the air, and you'll get an interception instead of, you know, him catching the ball on you. Simple as that, you know. But sometimes you need that tough love, but also you need to give some tough love with some salt, with some, you know, with some white gloves on a little bit too.
Man, no, I love the perspective because I'm not going to lie. I had to do the pregame and the postgame myself in Scholar Callahan. So
Right.
we can't sugarcoat it from that perspective because you got to be true to what it is. So
Yeah.
my thing was the pit game for you for obvious reasons because
Yes.
I
Yes.
played in both
That's to
sides.
you. Right. 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 Right.
So I'm like, oh, and no disrespect to Kansas, the loss to Kansas was, mm-mm,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
Yeah.
But as you just said, T, the biggest thing is we didn't have to deal with what these young people are dealing with now. You know what I mean? So I'm very careful. That's the reason why, even on whatever platform I'm on, I'm not going to tout a player too high, and I'm not going to get on a player when he's low because I
Right.
think, as you said, you gotta be balanced with that thing.
You do.
You know what I mean? If anything, for me, yeah, I was talk with some of the situational football with the coach. I'll talk about that more than I will even talk about the players not playing well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think they don't put themselves on the field.
Mm-mm.
Number one, they're not calling the offense or the defense.
Nope.
So,
Nope.
yeah, it's all about execution. But I think I'm hoping that we turn this thing around. Of course, we will. I think we have Townsend coming up. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
no disrespect to Townsend.
And credit to Kansas. You know what I mean? That young
Absolutely.
quarterback that they had out there did his thing.
Yeah.
They put a good product on the field this past weekend, and they
Yes.
beat us. You know,
Yes.
they beat us. They can't wait to win. They haven't beat us in a long time. So, you know, kudos to them as well.
And you know, it's funny you say that. I feel that way because that's a heck of a coach. He
Yeah.
was at Buffalo for a few years, and he turned that program around.
Yep.
And I said this honestly. I said this early in the summer that Kansas is going to be well coached. If you mess around and allow them to hang in the game, and you make mistakes and they don't, they're going to beat you.
Yes.
They're going to beat you because they're well coached and they're a disciplined team.
Yep.
So you're 100% right, Tior. Thank you for that perspective. Kudos to them. I'm not taking anything. I actually like the staff in the direction they're going in.
Right. Right.
I just want to make sure that we go in the same direction.
Yes, sir.
That's all I'm saying. So let me ask you this, my good brother. So your years in Morgantown, well, I've been back a few times, and I know you've
Oh
been
yeah.
back a few times.
Every year.
And I laugh. Sometimes I'm a little bit envious when I go back and see what they got now compared to when we were down there.
That is not the old Morgantown.
No.
That is not the old Morgan. That is not the little sleepy southern town, you know, up north that I ran into and went to visit back in 1989. It is a nice metropolitan area for that area. You know, I mean, you can carve out a good life for yourself right there in Morgantown and in the surrounding areas. And I have plenty of friends who are doing very well in that area. It still get cold, but as
Right.
far as you like I said, the amount of things that you can do and carve out a life is there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now I'm excited about, I believe Neil Brown, from a character, moral, value standpoint, I have no issues with that man at all. I
Mm,
think that he's a leader of men. I think that the direction of our program, hopefully, if we can get it back on track, he's the guy that can lead because because of all the other things that I just mentioned. And
right.
you and I, again, was blessed to be coached and played for a man who had very similar. It was very similar.
Right.
Coach Nealon stood on morals.
Yes, he did.
And at the end of the day, I speak to him to this day. And I'm more appreciative now at 56 than I was when I was playing for him
Definitely.
at 19, 20. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
That happens, I believe. So for us, we kind of understand it through a different vantage point because we played for someone like him.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that these young Mountaineers are experiencing the same thing, even though the win, lose, and draws of it, but with a coach like Coach Brown. I'm hoping that.
Yeah. Things are different, when kind of now coaches are leaving all the time, and just like players are leaving all the time. Coach Nealon was a maker of men, and that was his job. He told my mom and my aunt when he came and sat in our living room, he's going to graduate and he's going to play, he's going to be on TV, he's going to graduate. As soon as that, he's going to go to class, he's not going to fool around. I told you he's going to get his degree, he's going to get it. I graduated in 4 years. I had to spend a few summers up there, to make sure, I had a good time. I enjoyed myself on the field and off the field, but I was a student athlete.
Right.
Student first. You know what I mean? So it should not be, oh, wow, he graduating? That's not how the conversation should be. The conversation should be WVU graduates 80 to 90% of their athletes. Whether we have a great season or bad season, it should not matter. WVU is graduating athletes because listen, you got a free education. Ask somebody who's paying $200,000 for that same education.
Wow.
You can't, you know me, my daughter, we went to visit the school. It is not cheap. It is not cheap. So you're getting a good quality education and an expensive education. And so many of us just throw it away. Just
Wow.
throw it away. Instead of using football and sports alone as a vehicle to get you to where you need to be at as an adult. Once football is over or sports is over, people just like, I don't know what to do with myself. Know what you're going to do? You're going to be a productive individual. You're going to be a man or woman and go about your business like you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? You're going to start a family. If you can have a family, whatever like that, you're going to get a job, start a career, become an entrepreneur, do whatever things you need to do. But there's other things other than football. And until you realize that, football is the fallback, not the education. It is football that's your fallback. Education is your first thing. And we get that misconstrued too many times.
To your brother, preach. Because that is 25 years of teaching. That's what I try to get my students to understand that are athletes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get them to understand the aspect of what you just said. Being a student athlete is so important, man. That's the whole crux of it. In closing, my brother, what advice would you give if a football player, basketball player, baseball player came to you right now? What advice would you give to them when it comes down to picking a college?
Don't go with what's fashionable. Go with your heart. I went to visit several different schools and had, to be honest, way more fun at those schools. But it didn't come down to fun. It came down to what my heart said to me, what the coaches said to me, and what I believed in them. I felt that I can be the best version of myself in Morgantown. Some of the other schools I went to, I'm like, that's gonna be a little harder because it's a lot more partying, it's a lot this, that, and as WVU, as the #1 party school and all that, blah, blah, that could be, we enjoyed ourselves on the weekend, but Monday through Friday, laser focused on school. getting out of there, you know what I mean, so that my parents can be proud. So if you really, you know what I mean, when it comes down to looking at a school, do your investigation. You know what I mean? You have all the tools now with Google to see, make sure you know what you want to major in. Talk to your guidance counselors now in high school. Because I had no idea what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be when I graduated high school. I just knew I had to go to college, per my
Right.
mother. You're going to college, but like, well, what I want to be, I had no idea. We weren't having that conversation in high school with our counselors, unfortunately. That so you just kind of figuring it out.
Right.
And financial literacy, you know what I mean, fell into my lap as an adult, but not as, you know, I graduated a degree in sociology. It frameworks my perspective on everything though. You know, my managing style is being a people person. I can, my wife, my kids, and close, just to real quick, they'll call me the mayor. I speak to everybody. There's never a room that I'm not comfortable in. There's never a room that you're not gonna know that I was there.
Right.
If it is, I must be in a corner with COVID or sick or something, because I need you to know who I am. I was there, you know, and for whatever that reason was, you know, and I never know what that contact may come back around to me. I've had elevated conversations of 8 seconds that was impressed enough person for them to go that back downstairs, go to the front desk. Who's that young man that had on this, that, and the other? I need to talk to him about some business. 8 second elevated conversation has turned into hundreds of $1,000s of business.
Wow.
So do your thing, young man. You know, I mean, young men and women, do your thing, but make sure that you follow your heart so that you have no regrets in your decisions.
To your brother, again, thank you so much for coming on my show, man. Listen, I got to have you back because there's so much more I want to chop it up with you about
Anytime.
that will impact these young mountaineers and other student athletes and other students across this country, man. You have a wealth of information that people need to know, and they need to know Thomas Orr.
Appreciate it. And shout
Thank you
out to
so
my brothers, Palm chapter, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, A5 with all that good stuff too. I appreciate you guys.
You got it. I'll be in touch, brother. Thank you
All right,
so
man.
much.
Take care. You guys be
Peace.
safe.
All right. So as I told you, Mountaineer fans, Thomas Orr is the man. There's a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of impactful information that he just dropped, and I love it because this is what we're talking about. So now you realize when you graduate from WVU as a student athlete, oh, they're going to prepare you for the next 40, 50, 60 years of your life. And that's what a degree from WVU means. That's the cultivation of these coaches. And back in the day, being coached by Coach Neal and the importance of being a leader in your community and abroad. That's what we took. That's what we took from WVU. So it was such a pleasure to have him on. And I'm just super excited. I hope that you was excited about it. I know I was. So until next time, I will be up next week with another surprise guest. But until then, you already know what I'm going to tell you. Let's go, Mountaineers.